Kakashi meets up with Team 7 before they enter the hall of the Chunin exams. He informs them that unless they had all consented to take the exams, none of them would have been permitted to enter. With that, he wishes them good luck. Within the hall, the Rookie 9 meet up and have a spirited discussion. Kabuto Yakushi warns them to quiet down, as they are seemingly irritating the shinobi around them. Explaining the exams further, Kabuto uses his ninja info cards to give Sasuke information on Gaara and Rock Lee. Kabuto says that the individuals taking the exams are almost likely elites from their respective villages, a fact that intimidates the rookies. With his standard enthusiasm, Naruto loudly proclaims that he won't lose to anyone, and the rest of the room reacts to his words with annoyance. Insulted by Kabuto's earlier comment that the Hidden Sound village shouldn't really be taken seriously, 3 sound ninjas attack Kabuto. Although it appears that Kabuto dodged the attack, his glasses suddenly break, and he becomes nauseated despite not being hit. Before things can escalate any further, the proctor, Ibiki Marino, and his team appear on the scene. Ibiki Marino announces that the first part of the Chunin exams is a written test. Ibiki explains that a team's score will be added up at the end of the exam to see which teams pass. Various Chunin proctors line the sides of the room and watch the genin to catch cheaters. If caught cheating, the genin and his or her team are all disqualified. However, the test proves exceedingly difficult, and eventually most candidates figure out the trick to the exam. In order to pass, they have to cheat without getting caught. They then use their respective skills to subtly cheat. 45 minutes into the written portion of the Chunin exams, Ibiki announces that it is time for the 10th and final question. But he ominously states that there is one special rule for this question. Meanwhile, Kakashi, Asuma Sarutobi, and Kurenai Yui rest at the academy staff room and discuss their respective teams' chances of passing the first phase. Kakashi and Asuma explain to Kurenai that Ibiki specializes in interrogation and knows how to get inside the minds of his victims. Back at the exam, Ibiki states that the candidates are free to choose whether or not they want to try and solve the 10th question. If they opt out, the entire team will fail. If they choose to answer the question but get it wrong, they will be barred from taking the Chunin exams forever. Several teams actually decide to leave rather than risk it. Naruto doesn't have any answers to the first 9 questions, and knows that the chance of him knowing the answer to the 10th is basically equivalent to 0%. He seems to waver, but finally exclaims in his loud voice that he will not be intimidated, and will become Hokage, even if he fails and remains a genin forever. This ridiculous but determined outburst from Naruto the clown calms the remaining teams, and everyone is determined to stay for the remaining question. Seeing that no one else is going to leave, Ibiki passes them all. He explains that the first 9 questions were to test their information-gathering skills, whereas the 10th was to test their determination and bravery. With the first phase of the exam completed, Anko Mitarashi spectacularly crashes through the window and states she is the second examiner. After the students leave, Ibiki picks up Naruto's exam paper and smiles to himself, realizing he just passed a student who didn't answer a single question. The next day, the candidates gather outside the Forest of Death. Anko briefs the candidates on their objectives for the second portion of the Chunin exams. The test is structured such that at least half the teams will be eliminated. Before entering the Forest of Death, all teams will be given either a Heaven or an Earth scroll. Once inside the forest, the genin must take the other scroll from another team. Only those that make it to the tower in the center of the forest with both scrolls will advance to the next stage of the exams. Anko hands out the scrolls and opens the forest gates. Soon after, Team 8 that includes Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame manages to take a Hidden Rain Village's team scroll after trapping them. Elsewhere, Team 7 is attacked by a disguised rain ninja. Meanwhile, Naruto has to pee and Sakura hits him, and tells him go pee in a bush. When he comes out, Sasuke starts hitting him, and explains to Sakura that this person is not Naruto, because Naruto has scars on his cheek. With his identity being compromised, the Hidden Rain Ninja ditches his disguise and fights Sasuke, who defeats him while spotting the real Naruto, freeing him after he beats the Rain Ninja. Sasuke tells the others that they need a password. But the password he chooses is too long as Naruto struggles to remember it. Suddenly, a powerful gust of wind separates the team. Just as he reorients himself, Naruto finds himself swallowed by a giant snake. When Sasuke and Sakura later meet up with who they thought was Naruto, Sasuke suspects something is wrong when Naruto repeats the password word for word. Sasuke explains that the real Naruto would not have recited such a difficult password, hence why he chose a lengthy one, and the imposter revealed to be a hidden grass village ninja named Shiori. Swallowing his scroll, Shiori paralyzes Sasuke and Sakura with visions of their deaths. Sasuke succeeds in regaining his composure and getting himself and Sakura away from Shiori. Meanwhile, Naruto uses his shadow clone technique to burst out of the snake. Once freed, Naruto quickly comes to his friend's aid as Shiori corners Sasuke and Sakura. Despite Naruto's timely appearance, Sasuke decides to relinquish their scroll to Shiori to ensure their team's survival. However, Naruto stops Sasuke and punches him in the face. Refusing to accept Sasuke's mindset, Naruto takes the scroll from him. Naruto begins fighting Shiori and his snakes, although he is easily beaten and injured. As he is about to be devoured by the snake, Naruto taps into the Ninetales chakra and hits the snake down with one punch. Shiori manages to use the snake to toss Naruto into a tree, and then uses the snake to attack Sasuke, but Naruto manages to rush in and save him, asking him if he is okay and calling him a baby, echoing the same words Sasuke told him once before. Recognizing Naruto as the Ninetales container, Shiori uses a seal to block Naruto's access to the fox's chakra, rendering him unconscious. He throws him towards the ground, but Sakura saves him. She then yells at a frozen Sasuke to stop being a coward. Her words remind Sasuke of his brother, Itachi, and it rejuvenates Sasuke with determination as he prepares to battle the grass shinobi. Meanwhile, Anko finds the real Shiori and his team, dead and faceless, and recognizes it to be the work of someone she knows. Back to Team 7, Sasuke and Shiori engage in combat. After a long and difficult battle, Sasuke seemingly ends the battle with his fire release, Dragon Fire technique, to incinerate Shiori. However, the shinobi survives with his face partially melted off, revealing another face underneath. The shinobi reveals himself to be Orochimaru. He then extends his neck and bites Sasuke, leaving behind a cursed seal. After wishing Sasuke to survive, Orochimaru takes his leave. Anko finds Orochimaru and attacks him, intent on killing her former teacher for his crimes, even at the potential cost of her own life. But she fails as Orochimaru escapes. While hiding under a tree, Sakura tends to Sasuke and Naruto's wounds. Alerted from a daze by a squirrel, Sakura quickly wards it off with a kunai, ignorant to the fact that the Hidden Sound team had sent the squirrel there with an explosive tag on its back. Elsewhere, Rock Lee stops on a branch and sets himself the task of catching all the leaves that had fallen, believing that if he did, Sakura would fall in love with him. After catching 19 of the 20 leaves, he spots a squirrel with an explosive tag on its back and saves it before destroying the explosive tag. Dosu and his squad challenge Sasuke, but Sakura, prepared to defend her comrades, sets off several traps at the enemy shinobi. Unfortunately, Dosu manages to destroy the trap with ease, and shortly after that makes a remark about how Sakura has no right to be a ninja. Just before they could land their attack, however, Rock Lee shows up and knocks the three of them away. Declaring that he will protect Sakura until he dies, Lee uses his brute strength to pull up an underground route to block an incoming attack by Dosu. As the battle ensues, Lee prepares to use the front lotus after deeming that the situation meets the criteria that his teacher told him had to be met in order to use it, to protect the people most precious to him. Lee is then able to catch Dosu and use the technique, but the force of impact is cushioned by Zaku, and Dosu is saved. Unable to move as his body is recuperating from the strain of using the front lotus, Dosu incapacitates Lee with his own technique, which he claims is faster than Lee's taijutsu, since it works at the speed of sound. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Have a great day.